I'm going to be really excited to introduce you to my friend Satya. We've become friends over the last couple of months of preparing for this. He's from Footlocker. I think he's got a really cool story to tell that hopefully many of you will relate to. We're just going to tap dance for a moment and give you a minute to multitask while we get our AV going. Okay?
Thank you. Thanks, guy. Is it on? Yep. Nice one. Hi, Brian. Sure. Good job today. Thank you.
I added one more. I added this slide, and I added one more at the very end. Same exact slide you saw at the end. It just says here, simple call to action. So when you finish with your Q&A, I'll just come up and I'll take care of that last part.
Okay.
All right?
Sure.
Have fun.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. I'm Satya Prakash. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm Satya, working for Footlocker as an ID automation engineer. And today I'm going to talk about two things which we did in the last 2 years, precisely focusing on.
We can't hear you.
Can you hear me now? Okay, so I'm going to talk. Sorry, I think this one. Test 1, 2. It works fine when it gets closer.
Center? And the guy over there is like. Okay, test.
Test. Okay.
All right.
Yeah. Sorry.
Clicker.
Yeah. Okay, so about me, I started my career as a Java developer, and the first 10 years I worked as a Java developer, and last 4 years, close to 4 to 6 years, I've been working in enterprise monitoring space, where I've been implementing a lot of different strategies to improve the enterprise monitoring, and this is one of them. I joined Footlocker like 2.5 years back, and at the same time we introduced Relic in our environment. And my role was to basically, since I'm an automation guy, my role was to make sure that fill the space what we had gap in the systems. We have hybrid infrastructure in our environment, so kind of still migrating to public cloud, which is Azure we are using. And then another part I'll be covering is log management. We converted our log management from Splunk to Relic, and there was a good reason behind it. I'll talk more about that. So this is who we are. We have 7 brands, which we call as in banners. So it's 7 different banners where we sell different type of products to customers. So Footlocker, Kids Footlocker, Champs, Eastpay, Atmos, WSS, and Sidestep. These are our 7 brands. We have around 2,900 retail stores across globe, but we are major into UK and US and Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. So as you can see in the map, these are the places where we have stores, and it's basically in 28 countries. These are our company strategic imperatives, which is really aligned to the goal what we deliver every day to make sure that we are aligned to our company imperatives. And some of key things are here is like automation, cost savings, ease of maintenance, which is we do we do deal with daily with our developers. My team is part of like automation, so we do a lot of automation to improve the productivity and the scalability. So I'll talk about the problem we had and why we chose New Relic to be that platform where we can reduce all the tools. I mean, we can consolidate all the data into one platform. And so I had a working experience as an Splunk architect earlier, and I kind of understood when I joined Footlocker, the major thing I focused on the requirement we had. So we started with APM things. We had Dynatrace in our environment, and I think because of cost and there are so many other factors, we thought of moving Dynatrace out and then bring New Relic in. And that was the starting point we started, and then we also realized that New Relic, with the New Relic vision, as you can see, like they have been consistently working to bring a lot of different telemetry data, a lot of data from different sources. With the same vision, we also proceeded to bring all our different sources, like so earlier it was very challenging to maintain different type of tools. For mobile, we had a different tool. For website monitoring, we had a different tool. For our hybrid infrastructure, we were using different tools. So kind of, too much maintenance for the people. People were so engaged, not too productive. We had so many different platforms to maintain. So with New Relic, with that vision to put everything in New Relic, what we got is, when we got the data centralized, we reduced the tools, we increased the productivity by having less tool to maintain, the access wise, the data wise, the cost reduction. So all those things were in line with the plan what we thought of going. So that was the problem. What we really changed is, so we have, as of today, we have two different instances. One is for our EU, and so since, as you know, that GDPR, because of GDPR compliance, we created any region and EU region, and then we have any region, which consists all of our rest of the data where we do business. We do have a cloud resource metric integration where we get all type of, as of today, like I said, we are in hybrid infrastructure. So we use Azure as a public cloud platform, and we have around, 40 or 45 clusters. And we do get, earlier we were using like Azure Insight or Analytics, which was kind of, again, one of the additional tool I feel that not everybody had kind of access to go to Azure and get those data, right? So when we move all this data to New Relic, that was one benefit, again, our all developers and support team members got is they don't have to worry about all the clusters level access and all those things. So that was a good point. We migrated our log ingestion from Splunk to New Relic, and like I said, it was quite challenging, and thanks to New Relic consultant, they put out a lot of effort to make sure that it meets our need, and we were able to migrate all the logs except security. As of today, I think all the applications logs, all the Kubernetes logs, we do monitor using New Relic. And then we have additional metrics, event, and logs through API. So like Fastly, APG, and some of the key third-party services we use. So we bring those data as well to our platform using API. So outcome, so outcome is really, what we envisioned in early 2020. Something like, we are going in line with what we planned, and it has been a great journey so far. Like we were able to reduce at least a number of tools in our environment. I don't want to name the tools, but it's just And then the duplication of data, like we were using different tools, so each tools work on data, and we had to kind of send those same thing to different platform. So we were able to reduce those duplications of data in our environment. Reduction of data means reduction of cost, because most of the tools were SaaS-based products. So as long as you don't have much of data, you are good with the cost, and then reduce alerts in our environment. So like as of today, what happens is if any production issue or live issues came, because we have everything in Relic, we can easily see the dependency graph or correlate the events between our dependent services. Earlier it used to be different, like I'll tell one example which I said in this morning was inventory. So inventory is one of key things for us, because we whether it's our in-store sale or through our website or through our mobile app, we always go and check about our inventory, that whether that product is available which user is looking for or not. So for that, earlier it used to be different like mobile team, if they are calling inventory, they had their own way to monitor. Application team, they had their own way to monitor, and then in a store they had their own way to monitor. But now if inventory has any issues as of today, I mean all three team will get to know that, okay, this is my dependent services which is having issue. So all the three teams will get alert in parallel, so they don't have to worry about. And then the cost reduction, like I said, less data, less tool is equivalent to less cost, which is management is kind of always interested in. And then also we use a couple of other scripts, and I would name it, one of them is in-house developed tool for Relic. They have a very good tool called cloud optimization. So that is something we have used in our environment too. So basically what it does is, so since we get all the cloud resources uses, how frequently it has been used and at what level it has been used, like you provision some machines with some configuration, but you're not really using those machines up to the mark. So is there a scope to reduce the configuration, because cloud resources are costly, right? So those are the few things we have done in our environment that has reduced the cost. And then based on the past uses, we always frequently had a dialogue with our development team or DevOps team to discuss, like, is that something like we can work on. So this is so far journey in 2 years. Anybody has any questions so far? Or
I have a question. Satya, with the tools consolidation and then even replacing, Splunk with our Relic's logging capabilities, do you notice a significant reduction in the time to resolution across the groups? Have you guys measured that in terms of an impact to the organization?
we do measure that. I mean, if I understand your question, you're telling that after migrating everything in Relic, how it has been in production.
The speed of mean time to resolution or mean time to repair or isolating bottlenecks, has that been noticeable?
Oh yes, I mean, I do not have exact figure, but definitely, I mean, that has been reduced. Even the the RCA which you try to find. So like I said, like you can correlate the event between your systems from back to back. So
Do you see the teams like working together more as opposed to siloed?
yeah, I believe that after putting everything into one platform, the collaboration has been increased, and it has been directly with the developers. Earlier it used to be the level 1 support, then level 2 support, level 3 support. So those things has been reduced, and you get webhook notification, you get email directly, you can discuss with any developers who are responsible. So
Me too. We're kind of, like, the company I work for is kind of the same boat as far as, we have a lot of tools, we want to consolidate them. Obviously, some of the people that put those tools in, some of the teams that have those tools, replace that with New Relic, but there's those kind of compromises that you're going to have, that you have to take if you're going to be doing a consolidation. How much of that did you run into, and were people sort of hesitant to give up the tools that they knew and that they had spent time setting up, and
Yeah, change is also difficult, and if you are used to of using one tool, most of the people in company, they do not like to jump on another tool or learn new things. There are people who are excited about new things. So yeah, I think I had a challenge when I was migrating the logs. So a lot of people were redundant to accept that Splunk is going to be replaced with New Relic. But then, like I said, we did understand the business needs, what exactly, like we are a retail business, and what exactly we need, what we are using Splunk for. Like it's just blogging, searching, sorting data, putting out some reports, filtering your data, sending out alerting, dashboarding. So all the features, we do have in this tool. So why don't we take that as an opportunity to bring the data and give even developers more access to their data and work on the real-time issues. So yeah, challenges were there, but I think if you educate your users that why you are doing this change, I think at some point they will realize that they will see the bigger picture. So
it'll be painful.
yeah.
There's a related question actually in the app as well that Satya put in ahead of time about how some of you may be using New Relic and which tools you may be using to replace, et cetera. He was looking for that feedback, so if you're interested, just go into the app, click on one of the polls, and you'll be able to fill that in.
Sure.
Satya, I have a quick question. Did you have like an executive sponsor at Footlocker that helped kind of push through some of those barriers where you had resistance from teams?
Sorry, I
Did
did
you
not.
have an executive sponsor?
Sponsor.
Did you have like an executive sponsor in your leadership team that helped, where there was some resistance, helped kind of explain the other side of the coin to those teams where
Yes, of course, yes. I got a lot of support from my director when I showed this vision to her. So,
Yeah, just real quick, I think people have asked this question a couple different ways, but what were the biggest organizational and technical challenges when you went from, say, Splunk to New Relic logging? Because it's not just technical, it's organizational and, executive sponsor, et cetera. But can you give 30 seconds on what your hurdles were?
So, yeah, the main hurdle I particularly face, I'm not sure about the management side because I was less involved in those decisions. But on the technical side, I can say that yes, they were hesitant to accept that because they did not had an idea. This, especially logs. 2 years back, they launched this product, so I think still people are still trying to understand this whole picture of how logs is going to be helpful for them. But like I said, I had experience with Splunk, so I knew that what exactly Splunk offers and what New Relic is offering and where my organization need is. So that actually helped me to put out a vision and show them that this is what we are going to do. Like I said, the cost was the major factor. Management considered this change, and then I think feature-wise we overlapped around 80 to 90% features we got what we were using in Splunk. So.
Can you account for the 10% that wasn't there? Like, where did you struggle with feature parity?
Yeah, I think the real-time searching is one of the things, some complex queries like, join queries or sub-searches, which is not available in New Relic at that point. And I believe the reporting is one of the challenging thing where they do not have pagination for big reports, like when you are trying to pull data more than 2,000 of either I can say node or logs. As bit challenging. There are ways to get those, but like I said, it's not easier way. So those are some 10% challenges which we have. Then in Splunk you have objects, you have you can extract the field at runtime, you can save it. New Relic, they does the same thing like using grok pattern, they do support, but at the runtime they do support the regex one. So there is a mismatch between extracting the attributes which we needed. So those are some of the things which are really challenging. But as we went forward with this tool, we are maturing our platform. We are getting there. All thanks to New Relic consultant as well. They have been very helpful to answer and help us to resolve all those issues, hurdles. So this is where we were before state. If I talk about early 2020, we were getting events, logs, and metrics from different our sources. Like as I said, we have approximately 2,900 stores, and I think we were using Nagios to monitor all our stores, and then we have iOS and Android mobile app, and we were using some of the tools. I think it was earlier we were using open source Firebase tool, but later on we moved to some other tool. We do realize that New Relic has that capability as well, so why not let use that. AKS monitoring is one of key things, like when you talk about key infrastructure, specifically about the pod or container level detail, really helped us to get those. Then APM, browser, real user monitoring, synthetics, these are some key things which we use every day, almost every hour in our environment. There are on-prem and cloud infrastructure metrics, logs from various sources, like I talked about. We have a couple of ways to, like in a Splunk, we get from different sources logs, right? So in next slide, I'll be talking about what various sources we get logs from, and then Microservices Logs. So like, they have very cool Kubernetes plugin. You just need to deploy using Helm chart, and then it's like, you don't have to do much of configuration. So the pod level or container level logs, what you have deployed, those applications in those pod will be, you can get easily those logs. Then there were some key metrics which we were using some different tools to bring those key metrics things, and again that hybrid infrastructure metrics, like Azure was one of, like we were using their insight and analytics for that. So that we got into New Relic, and on-prem we were using SolarWinds, and there were some of the other tools. CI/CD metrics, I think they have Jenkins app where you can get all the deployment details, and then they do support deployment markers. So like if we had a requirement of, I think our developer wanted to monitor all the deployments, any new changes which has been went to production should be associated with the APM or application we have configured in New Relic. So those things also we were able to get. With all this, on the right hand side, we use on-call tools, like whoever team is supporting whatever application. I think we were using Opsgenie tool to maintain all our developers and team members, and then IDSM to send all the tickets or alert details, and then we have Teams chat where we can collaborate. So these were previously on the right hand side. I think it's pretty much as it is in after state as well. And like in next slide, you can notice that all the gray ones, which has been migrated to New Relic already, and the blue one says still we are in process of doing that, like Nagios and some of the metrics. And then like still we rely on some of the Azure key metrics, so that's why you see slightly blue there, but right hand side, as I said, like pretty much same. So with all these single platform things, this has really helped with reducing the alerts, detection of any failure, like synthetics as one of the key example. And good thing about synthetics with New Relic is they do support minion server, where you can create your own server behind the firewall. So if you have any applications or service, which you want to test within firewall, and then they do provision servers outside, like in public cloud locations where you can test across globe your application. So both the ways you can do. Logs. So as you can see in the screen, I was talking about the data input where we get most of our data from. So we have 3 ways as of today. We deploy infrastructure agent for all our on-prem servers, which is like, again, comes with the same infrastructure agent which collects matrix of your machines. So you can configure the same infrastructure agent to get the logs into your environment. Then we have Kubernetes plugins. We have Kubernetes plugin where we get all the applications logs from the pod and containers, and then HTTP log forwarding via log API. So Fastly, or there are a couple of other web services we use where we can send all the payload and all the data to Neuralink, the log data to Neuralink. The infrastructure agent is pretty much same configuration what we, that's just a configuration file where you can pass your custom attributes along with, like you call, a field. So there are some sample fields which is being collected by Neuralink itself. But if you just need any additional field, you can pass it on. And then on the runtime, you can, like I said, you can create. Parsing was one of the major challenge we had. So we had to kind of work hands and forth with different type of logs and parse those data as we were doing in a Splunk. And then I would say that, yeah, 80 to 90% data we were able to parse it, and we were able to structure it the way we want. The real challenge only was to store as an object. So, and then there were like multi-line parsing where developer had different sort of requirement that they want to see their logs in this format, that format. So those things we covered. Then Neuralink also has automatic obfuscation about your, if you have any PII data or NPI data logging in your environment. Though we have security level at our application, but just in case, you log, they do mask all the data in logs. Attributes can be added on the configuration. What we added, like host name, source type, or index name, we try to keep it similar to what we had in our previous environment so that developers will not get confused. Index is something I think which is reserved in Neuralink logs. So we used index name, we have source type, and then there are a couple of additional fields we did. Now on the upper line, you see log, there is a drop filter rules. That is something I want to touch base on. And I like this feature because I have been doing all these things from last 2 years. So I felt that in our environment, since we started using Neuralink because to reduce the cost, to reduce the tool sprawl, to reduce the data noise, right? Still, I feel like, it's a kind of open platform in our environment. So everybody has access, everybody can ingest the data. A lot of developers working across different teams, they have access to send any type of data they want. Now, whether the management or, whether those data make sense to company, right? So like if I enable Kubernetes data or metric or log, like does everything make sense to the company? Or does it everything what we are ingesting is needed for the business, right? To deal with that, I feel that there are a lot of opportunity, and since I'm in automation, it was my prime responsibility to understand that if there is no need of data, like there are some data which I feel that is not required for like sort of debug data we don't need, or in non-prod we don't need the data, right? Or there are some other dev environment and all. So they do offer you to create sort of queries using GraphQL where you can drop the data before it gets into Neuralink. So a lot of tools doesn't really offer this type of thing because they monetize with the data. And I think Neuralink does that. That's a very cool feature I like when it comes to cost. So we can see the pattern, we can analyze our data, but if we don't feel like this data is really needed, just drop it before it goes into their database or pipeline. So similar search screen, you can see they have pretty much like the search bar where you can use your attributes, whatever attributes you have, and then or you can do some random search, like it's as similar as Splunk, I feel, and you can just type your keyword, just use it and filter it based on that. We do have 2 different instances, and that's why I have mentioned that which instance we send the data to. So if it is UK, we send it to eu.neuralink.com. If it is rest of the world, we send it to NM. So capabilities, pretty much we use everything except networking and security as of today. So kind of networking and security is not something we have touched it with Neuralink, and we wanted to use it. I heard some cool features has been launched this morning about security, and also definitely looking forward to do that. But we use APM. We have around more than 900 different type of applications, services in our environment. We do have infrastructure monitoring, where we monitor all our cloud and on-prem nodes, servers. We have Kubernetes clusters, around 40-45 clusters we do monitor across all environment. Log management, mobile monitoring, like it does support like your iOS or Android mobile. Browser monitoring, synthetics. So these are some key features we have implemented in our environment in last 2 years, 2.5 years. Future state, this is something which we are aiming to dig more into these areas where, with full stack observability. That was the key thing when we started doing all these things, and that is, I heard Bill today about all this, how they are going to make it possible with centralizing all the data and using this FSO as in Neuralink capabilities. And that is where we are also aiming to go in the same line, that we have all the data into our environment in single platform, and then it should be quick and easy for everybody, like developers, automation engineers, infrastructure engineers. They can just use the same platform too. Then AIOps is the key thing everybody is talking about. A lot of tools was being developed that you might have seen in. So that is something we also looking forward to have some AIOps things in Neuralink. And if I talk more about there are frequent things which I see is self-healing sort of things which I expect Neuralink to do based on, there are frequently occurred issues which, like your server is down or your memory has been reached up to 90% or 95%. Neuralink, we are hoping that we should have some sort of capabilities where, based on the alerts or based on the matrix, it should trigger some action, or at least, I'm trying to write some script. I haven't been successful with that, but that is something we are trying to work with. Cost optimization is one area which always let's keep going, as with the Azure resources, we have to make sure that it is with our budget limit, and whatever budget has been proposed for this year, every year we are staying under that. So we have to kind of monitor most of our cloud resources. Questions, please. Sure.
As part of what you do, you're in automation.
Mm-hmm.
Have you, as part of this, deepened your automation approach with things like infrastructure as code, Terraform, things like that? I assume you are, but I'd be interested because there's a lot of that here at New Relic, resources that do that. Just what help you got on that. And also, any challenges on hybrid cloud, right? I noticed that some of the things are still, in on-prem, and some of the things that are, so any challenges that might be useful to hear about from a hybrid cloud customer, someone who's still on the journey, up to public cloud?
To the first question, yes, we do have automation capabilities in our environment. Like we use Ansible, we use Terraform to provision our cloud resources. We use Ansible to push all the changes we need. Like tomorrow, if there is a new infrastructure agent version or APM agent version, we use those automation techniques to push our things. The second question, if you may repeat again.
Yeah, I just noticed that on that one chart where there were some capabilities still sort of in the works, right, and still kind of an incomplete migration to, Azure public cloud. I was just wondering if there's any special challenges you had managing a hybrid environment with New Relic, or things you're still working through?
Not really a challenge, but I think we started in 2020, so it's still just going with the plan. A lot of data center, and since we work across the globe, so it's just taking time, but I don't see really challenge to move over, other than, business challenges maybe there will be, but no technical challenge I see.
I may not need a microphone. I think I'll be okay with that, actually, so sure.
You can hear in the back, right?
Yeah. Well, we can hear you. Well, good. Good genes there, right? I have two questions. First question, have you guys started using the new APM agent that is pulling logs by an APM? And if so, have you seen any issues there? And then second question, how have you combated performance problems in New Relic when ingesting and using that log data?
Sure. To the first question, I'm aware of that login context. I heard about it, and I think we started using it not with our full all the APM capabilities, but I think we started with some. I believe there are some restriction with the logs because you can't send some amount of data only can be sent in that context. You can't send bigger payloads, or you can't send big log. So like if I want my 2 MB or 3 MB of file sent out to the logs, I think context is just going to take some part of it, not entire thing. So yeah, so that is something I'm still exploring. If that is, maybe that could be one of the roadblock I see that. So how it could be, good for our environment, because if you're sending directly through agent or the current way we are using, but the other way, if you're planning to send in login context, it will overlap and may increase your data ingest. So that we have to do a little search on that.
Yeah. And then the other one was on performance. I know we have dealt with performance issues regarding how you use that data once it comes in. Have you guys seen that?
I mean, yeah, we.
And if so, how have we dealt with it?
Performance, I mean, the only thing I have seen in last couple of months is the limit. They have some limit for each user or search, I believe. It was the. Yes, and the bad thing is they don't have a differentiation of if you're a full user or if you're admin, they don't have any differentiation of. So everybody has similar capabilities there. Like I can hit only this many number of events. But in the Splunk, I like these things is, if you're a power user or if you're admin, you have additional capabilities. But I heard that they have in roadmap, they're working. But it's very rare in our environment though, but we try to educate our users, and then we have alert set up. So if somebody is really using very large queries, we just, our team get alert about it. We just reach out to that user, try to see that what exactly the use case is, and then offer them this is other way you can do it so that you will not consume all the memory.
Any other questions? Okay, cool. If we want to go to the next slide then. And Satya can be available right after the session as well. So a lot of questions on logs, obviously. Where the main session has been up in the front up there are several demo pods as well. And we've got a lot of New Relic technical staff that's available to answer some of the questions that came up here in more detail as well, so that we don't have to put Satya on the spot for all of that. Other things we would love it if you would do is, within the app, if you take a moment now and go in and give us some feedback, that helps us grow as an organization. It helps Satya grow as well, personally and professionally, as we're putting these things together for future sessions for yourselves and other customers. And then if you want to scan these UR codes, there's also additional details. If you do want to try logs, if you're not doing it yet, there's a free trial offer that's available for the attendees here at FutureStack. And there's also additional free training that's available as well. So go ahead and take a minute on that. If you have any other further questions, you can always come talk to me or your account rep, those kinds of things as well.
Well, thank you everybody for giving your time and hearing me.
Thank you.